You can't go in there, mister. The Meister isn't home and the Magister's locked her house up for her. They was very angry about it. They said mean things about the Meister and they left a mess, a big one. She's outside the gates. I can't go outside the gates. It's very dangerous. Hey, you want to know a secret? When the wind blows from over the stream, I can hear the Meister. I can hear her crying.
She gives you a look of the darkest meaning. Then she takes a deep breath, puts on a happy smile, turns and skips away. The door has been sealed shut. The Magisters have nailed a notice to the door. The notice reads, "Warning, do not enter, crime scene. Meistr Siva has been accused of conspiracy, murder and high treason. She shall hang by the hands at the farmland's gallows until trial. Anyone found trespassing on these premises before her trial concludes shall be charged as an accomplice and will share her fate." You notice that the message is signed Magister Raymond in the name of Dallas Most Holy.
This place has seen better days.
A stone door lies flush with the floorboards. Etched whorls in the granite frame a delicate rotary dial. Gleaming under the dim light, the metallic dial almost seems to wink at you. No amount of sheer force you exert can budge the slab even a hair's breadth.
Maybe we should find the Meister. Malady seemed to think she could help.
Necessary?
A Magister guard approaches. Behind her, on the gallows, two lizards. One in a Magister uniform hangs dead from her neck. The other hangs from her hands, still alive.
Step away from the prisoner! That's internal order business. You do well to leave it alone. Let's just say Zeus and there was of help to sorcerers and leave it at that.
Do you even know what they've done?
You're going to... What, now? She betrayed Alexander. I'd sooner die than free her. I'll regret this, I know I will. All right, I'll stand aside.
The lizard hangs from the gibbet, her face blooded and her scales discoloured. Her eyes are closed, but her tongue flickers as you approach.
Welcome to Driftwood, Godwoken.
One bloody eye cracks open, glittering gold appearing from beneath the swollen lid.
Chased you all the way here from Fort Joy, did they? Very well then, cut me down. There is work to be done. Or indeed you could stand there gawping as if you were a cow ordered to dance a reel. It is a masterful performance. I would applaud it, but well.
The Meister bares her teeth, stained a deep pink by her blood, and growls.
Malady is unfortunately mistaken. I cannot train you, but I can certainly help you on your path. As long as I am free of this rope. Because along with torture and interrogation, the Magisters found space in their schedules to purge me, that's why. They spent quite some time at it too. Apparently I was a rich vein to be mined. And now I hang powerless as any butchered carcass. They stopped the process just as the last of my power drained away. Just enough to rob me of my strength, but not enough to leave me a hollow sack of flesh and scales. I had hoped they simply wished to preserve my charm and beauty, but no. It seemed Dallas had ordered that I be held until she could do the deed herself. To give it the personal touch, I imagine. Now that you have had that... that delightful little nugget of gossip, perhaps you could do your damn job and let me loose?
The lizard grimaces, shifting awkwardly as she dangles.
I am in intense pain. You are either insufferably cruel or insufferably stupid. Insufferably stupid. As if there was any doubt. Oof! It was obvious, Godwoken. You are whippet thin, implying you've been a captive. Your wrists have seen the sun, but your neck has not, so you sported a collar, not shackles. Thus you escaped Fort Joy. After an escape, any sane creature would rest, but the bags under your eyes indicate you haven't. Why not? You must have been chased. Thus... thus you must have been important. No one important escapes a prison without help, and no one frees sorcerers bar the Seekers. They thought you were worth saving, and thus I surmise you are Godwoken. Now, an important person does not come to Driftwood unless they seek someone even more important than themselves, so I further surmise you are here for me and will help me down. Now!
A slow, pained grin spreads across the lizard's face. Her tongue flickers.
Not quite as stupid as I imagined. I am still head of the Seekers, boy. I can taste your sauce. It wafts about you like honeysuckle on the breeze. Now, if you would be so kind, my bonds. Be quick about it. Who knows when that Magister might return? God's teeth, it feels good to move again. Now, best scurry off before that Magister wanders back. Meet me at my home in Driftwood, and we can see what you're made of.
The Meister sits slumped in a chair, looking around the room as she works her shoulder with one hand. It looks like it was dislocated by the Gallows.
Damnable red cloak baboons ransacking my wardrobes, as if I were keeping ancient valuable secrets in a pile with my unmentionables.
She takes a deep breath, and with a twist, a click, and a screech of pain, she shoves her shoulder back into its socket.
I swear by the seven, if we did not have more important matters to attend to.
Reaching across the table, she pulls a bowl of hot water towards her and fishes some bandages, a needle, and thread out of a box. She slowly starts to tend to her wounds.
At least the barbarians were unable to club their way into my vault, so everything you need should be safe. Apparently I had a claw in murdering their darling divine-in-waiting Alexander.
The Meister wrenches the bandage, pulling the fabric tight against her wound. She winces before tying it off in a neat knot, but you can see the red stain already spreading across the fabric.
Never mind that. That I was here the entire time. Apparently my cunning transcends time, space, and common sense.
Meistr Siva freezes, her eyes locked on you, her claws mid-swipe, cutting a new stretch of bandage.
Why on earth should I have thought anything else? Not that I was sorry to hear about his death. I doubt my grin helped matters during the interrogation. It is not enough to be Godwoken in order to ascend to divinity. There is a process.
As she speaks, the Meister uncorks a vial of shimmering liquid, sauce. She lets a couple of drops fall on her hand, but instead of infusing with her body, they quickly evaporate on her scales. She stares at the empty spot on her palm for a long moment before turning back to you, continuing as if nothing had happened.
A process by which Godwoken may ascend. It begins with discovering your deepest self, delving into your own soul. We shall begin once we have the tools we need from my vault. You may have been chosen Godwoken, but becoming divine requires more than a supernatural pat on the head. Come, Godwoken. It is time to see just how awake you are. Perhaps you have noticed the safe in the floor. You will find it just beside the wall bed. Kindly enter the combination as I call it out. I believe you are capable of that.
The stone door remains just as it was when you last saw it, rigid and unmovable. Only the rotary dial crowning it can be persuaded to stir. Taking your time, you carefully enter the combination. The metallic sounds of the tumblers falling within the mechanism let you know you entered the code correctly.
Excellent. Follow me. Your time is at hand, Godwoken.
Ancient runes, weird contraptions.
Feel free to look
This
about while I
place is an
catch my
Arcanist's
breath.
dream.
Come speak to me when you wish to proceed. And try not to break anything in the meantime.
The Meister is examining her wounds, prodding at this, wincing at that. Her face seems grim as she turns to you.
Do you know what it means to have the power of the divine, Godwoken? Just so. To accept divinity is to accept responsibility for the lives of every person and beast that walks Rivalon. If granted divinity, you would have the power of all 7 gods at your disposal. You could heal any wound, pull islands from the sea, right any injustice. But make no mistake, the Divine has only one duty: to protect this world from the Void. The Divine cannot use his power for anything else. Very well, then. Let's see if we can't snatch divinity from the jaws of the Void. The ritual itself is quite simple. Drop some blackroot in the bowl, mix in a little blood, set the concoction aflame, and then inhale the smoke. Ignore any feelings of dizziness, burning in your lungs, or a dire sense of existential dread. They're all perfectly normal, although you will need to sacrifice a little sauce along the way. Everything you need is here. Ingredients in the cupboard, sauce in the glowing fountain, ritual in the tome by the bookcase, even an incinerator to provide a flame.
The Meister looks back at her wounds, curiously prodding them as fresh blood oozes out, staining her claws.
Once, although not by a Godwoken. My assistant did not believe that one had to be chosen by a god to become divine.
She waves a bandaged hand absent-mindedly, wincing slightly.
A headstrong and thoughtless girl, but the experience was quite educational. From observing her, I gather that the ritual involves inhaling the smoke, a lot of screaming, and a rather sudden death. Well, certainly. It is not my place to police the stupidity of others. I have to admit I was curious. Imagine if it had been a success. Why, then anyone could have ascended, even I. Alas, success was beyond her reach. Quite fascinating to watch, though. I've never seen a body burn from the inside out before. And do not lose anything. These ingredients are rare indeed. I'm not hiking back out to the cloisterwood to fetch you more blackroot.
Opening the door, you see a selection of ingredients, thrown together in no particular order. After a quick rummage, you spot the blackroot nestled between the grated dragon's tongue and drudene oil. You gather up the blackroot, obsidian lance, and ancient bowl, and kick the door of the cupboard closed. As you suck the smoke deep into your lungs, your vision starts to swim and cloud. There is an intense pounding in your head, and you can feel the world fading. As the world fades away, you lose all sense of being grounded. You reach out, but you could feel yourself falling slowly, sinking into the depths of your own soul.
Deepest recess of my soul. But it looks like the Hall of Echoes.
Bathed in the half-light of these starless barrens, you spot a figure you could only describe as a second self. It looks haggard and weak, its very voice but a feeble echo of your own.
My chosen, come closer, so that you may see me as I truly am. You will see when you look me in the eyes.
The apparition clasps your face in its shaking hands. You suddenly feel your eyes tingle. Everything becomes brighter, sharper. Blacks and whites become glorious bursts of color, then fade back into their accustomed spectrum.
Blind eyes shine brightly. Speak the spell and see.
God is the strange mirror image of yourself. Before you stands the god Ralik in all his spectral glory.
You know me now, don't you? I saved you from drowning. I blessed you, made you powerful. And now I've come to seek some power in return. Your Godwoken soul is my last refuge, my last bastion. May as well make the best of what you have to offer.
Rallic nourishes himself from the source that abounds in your presence. You feel it deep down inside yourself.
Ah, yes. Just what I needed. I tell you, dying just doesn't become a god. The void itself is hunting down the gods, leeching us in ways we never thought possible. Droplet by droplet, we are being drained. We're battling for our very survival. It's a battle we're losing, and should we truly lose, all will be cast into oblivion. To save us both, as a matter of fact. You must realize that our fates are now as one, just as our souls are now as one. We are I. Together we are a force to be reckoned with. But if we seek to survive the onslaught of the void, we stand no chance unless we become vastly more powerful than we are now. That means there is but one place we can go. The Well of Ascension. It is a lake, a pool of pure source in which the powers of the Seven lie united. We gave them up freely to create the first divine. Each of us donated half of that which makes us gods. To bathe in the lake is to become our chosen. That is where the road to divinity leads, and you must be the first to reach it at all costs. It was a time of selflessness and sacrifice, in the face of our old enemy. It was an act of heroism, and a dreadful mistake. A mistake we must rectify. The void is stronger than ever. A new divine won't be enough. You need to go to the Well of Ascension, not to bathe in the source of the Seven, but to take it. All of it. Only he who claims everything will be everything. The void's doom. This world's liberator. Whatever for. The other gods will either bow to you or be undone. But of course, that is what they are saying to their own Godwoken as we speak. We both know they won't bow, just like we both know you will never bow to them. Only one can become a god strong enough to safeguard our world. One, at the expense of all others. So make no mistake, my champion. Chances are the road to divinity will be paved with dead gods, their blood on your murderous hands. But don't let that dismay you. For these sins will be washed clean by the knowledge you committed them to save all of existence. To save your kin, and your loved ones, and the world they live in. Of course, the ends do justify the means. Life, or the eternal void. If you choose life, you choose the Well of Ascension. I will lead you there when you're ready, when you've become a true master of the Source, and speak the language of creation itself. Our journey will be fraught with peril. It is a pilgrimage of challenges that will require you to command Source like only a Godwoken can, and wield its most powerful spell.
Hoarse laughter rolls and echoes into infinity.
You flatter me, my chosen. But if all I had to do was give, you would have long since have received. We are I now. The spells you need to know I will teach you when you are ready. But first you must learn to channel the Source in greater volumes. That is why you need to seek Masters of the Source. You must make them teach you, so that you may become a master in turn. So, return to Rivellon and seek out these sages where they dwell. Convince them to share with you their deep-seated bond with the Source. Once you have, you may return to me here. Something that will make you understand that for a god, there is precious little difference between the living and the dead. Source is. It is a constant, a subject of neither time nor transience. All of life is Source, and in Source it is. Immortally so. You have the vision of a god now. Eyes that can see spirits, the souls of the dead made manifest in Source. Speak the spell during your peregrinations, and you will see them. Where the dead lie, the dead linger. Best of luck, my champion.
The Meister stares intently at you. Her eyes are tired and bruised, but determined.
Still alive? Gods above, there might be something to you after all.
She leans in, her bloody tongue flickering hungrily about your face.
Tell me, what did you see? What do you know?
She sighs impatiently as you hack up the last of the green smoke.
You can't channel enough sauce? Gods be damned, why couldn't you have a nice simple problem? Finding an orc to dance the hornpipe, perhaps? I know exactly what must be done. You must find a master of sauce. And I could have helped you once, but no longer. The purging which the Magisters included as part of their service was quite efficient. They stripped me of my sauce. Not enough to silence me, but enough that I would not turn their insides to lime. Enough to sever my link to the font from which all source flows, and certainly enough that I cannot train you. So we must seek alternatives. Alas, the only source masters not yet hauled off to Fort Joy or turned into meat puppets are those too dangerous or cunning for the Magisters to contain. Sorcerers that allowed their power to corrupt them. Many are wicked, cruel, vile, and generally not good teacher material, but we may have no others to turn to. You will not be there long, I assure you. There is only so much you can glean from a twisted mind. However, it is the path we walk, no matter what the cost. No matter what is asked of you.
The Meister doubles over in a violent coughing fit, struggling for breath. After a few moments, she regains her composure, wiping a thin smear of blood from the corner of her mouth.
No matter what is asked of you, you must learn from them. And you do not seem to be paying attention. Sorcerers, evil, controlling your source, saving Rivellon, please. Please tell me at least some of this rings a bell. Your focus, your only focus, must be on finding these masters, on finding the secrets to divinity. Nothing else matters. Alas, I am. And we do not have time to nitpick morals. The Magisters have kept ledgers with all known sorcerers, especially the powerful ones not yet captured. They would be an invaluable resource. But do be careful not to get caught. I was their guest for a time. And I promise you the Gallows was the most comfortable part of the experience. And if their barracks turns out to be as empty as their skulls, just try to keep an ear to the ground. There may still be powerful sorcerers hiding in these lands.
As she speaks, one of her wounds reopens, a dark red stain spreading across her tunic. She hisses in frustration and starts to bind the gash.
I wish there was more I could do, but in this condition, I would be more a hindrance than a boon. Godspeed, and remember, do whatever it takes.
Quirkus, what are you looking at? Egad, stop gawking at the shield. You ought to be quite used to such journeys into that stone realm by now. Meanwhile, the acorn draws nearer. I read through some tomes I saw that cranky old lizard carry. Some fascinating leads, but nothing like the power we need to stop the Knights of Dre and their wicked plot. Our gargantuan friend is easily impressed. Wait until it learns that I'm a knight, a scholar, and a wizard capable of saving the world. No, of course it knows that already, Quirkus. Yes, I'm aware it's the entire basis of our partnership. No, I most certainly do not feel the need to return the compliment. I owe our shield my life several times over. I hardly need to grovel and thank it each time. I'm sure it knows I appreciate it. Now, if you're quite finished ogling your favorite long-legged scratching post, we need to get on and save the world already.